You're probably seeing a lot of stuff in the news about Trump's latest tariffs on seemingly the entire world. You may be wondering what gives Trump the power to just randomly slap tariffs on nearly every country and territory, including an island that seemingly only has penguins, with these tariffs. Trump issued these tariffs under two authorities provided by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and the National Emergencies Act. You may be thinking to yourself, but there's no international or national emergency that Trump is responding to. And you'd be right. These laws are very broadly written, and Congress basically gave away a lot of its power to regulate when and how a president could declare a national or international emergency. The laws are so broad that it basically gives the president complete authority to determine when and what qualifies as an emergency. These authorities are not just used for tariffs, though. They're also used to sanction various, bad actors around the world. For instance, the Biden administration imposed sanctions on leaders of the warring parties in Sudan for mass atrocity crimes committed during the war. These sanctions authorities are usually used to provide some financial and travel burden on individuals, governments, and entities that are committing gross violations of human rights, mass atrocities, terrorism, etc. But these are also the same sanctions authorities that Trump is using to attack the rule of law and sanction the International Criminal Court. Yes, you heard me right. We're using the same laws to apply sanctions on individuals and groups that are committing mass atrocities, genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and ethnic cleansing, while also sanctioning the international judicial body that's responsible for prosecuting those same crimes. Of course, that was because the ICC opened up cases against Israel for crimes perpetrated in Gaza, which the politicians that are bought and paid for by AIPAC can't tolerate. But I digress. Many of these sanctions that presidents of both parties have used are seemingly endless, calling into question the very definition of what a emergency is. The problem is Congress has for years just abdicated its responsibility as an oversight body. It would be amazing if Congress would rein in the powers of the president, but we know that Republicans who control both the House and Senate have no interest in pushing back against Trump. In fact, when House Democrats tried to exert their ability to bring a privileged motion that would force a vote on the issue of tariffs, Republicans changed the rules to block them. Actually, what Republicans did was include language in a stopgap funding bill that stated each day for the remainder of the first session of the 119th Congress shall not constitute a calendar day for purposes of Section 202 of the National Emergencies Act, with respect to a joint resolution terminating a national emergency declared by the President on February 1st, 2025. In essence, House Republicans changed the definition of what a calendar day is, making it impossible for this type of motion to force a vote, since it requires a vote within a certain number of days once it's brought to the floor. But since Republicans changed the definition of a day and basically made the rest of the year one day, there can be no vote on this motion until after January 2026. With the latest string of insane tariffs, there has been some bipartisan pushback in the Senate, but it's unlikely that the Republican held House, which has notoriously been less level headed than the Senate, will actually do something about this. So, in the short term, we have to deal with these insane economic policies that seemingly have no clear agenda and zero empathy for the small businesses and millions of Americans that will be hurt by these tariffs. Long term, Congress really needs to step up and take back some of its power from the executive branch. For far too long, Congress has ceded power to the presidency, allowing for abuses of power like what we're seeing today. This unchecked power goes against what the founding fathers planned for when building a system of checks and balances. And now we're paying the price.